Hey guys, what's going on? Vega here from SerpentX Special Forces. In this video, I want to talk about Chia blockchain and how to mine Chia. Now, there's a number of different proofs out there. We got proof of work, which we all know, GPU mining, ASICs, FPGAs. Proof of stake, POS, which of course Ethereum 2.0 is coming. A number of projects you can earn cryptocurrency by staking the cryptocurrency that you have or those assets that you have. There's proof of coverage, which is for helium, right? HNT, where the coverage, if you set up these stations in a city or an area and show proof of coverage, that's how you can mine additional HNT or helium. Now proof of time, and proof of time is basically hard drive mining, and it kind of opens it up for more of the average consumer, because I know GPU is very hard to get, and mining cryptocurrency is becoming more resource intensive. Well, it's always been resource intensive. It's just the computational power to really make it profitable. You're going to have to spend a decent amount of money to get GPUs or ASICs. Well, proof of time and mining with your hard drive, most of us have a hard drive, but there's a couple of caveats, and there is kind of this limit in which users can get in. I want to talk about that. Honestly, if you want to know more about Chia blockchain, SonOfTech did a video on what is Chia blockchain, and I believe he's going to have additional information or videos asking questions about Chia blockchain. I just want to go over the mining aspect of it. So if we go to chia.net, you can see here, new blockchain smart transaction platform that is easier to use, more efficient, and secure. And right there, we got the mainnet that was released not too long ago, actually, from time of recording. But we have the source code that we can go download or install Chia blockchain. Now, if we click this right here, it's going to take us to this page, which I already had open. And it says, minimum specs. The minimum supported specs are that of a Raspberry Pi 4, quad core 1.5 gigahertz, 2 gigabytes of memory, Python 3.7 and above, so on and so forth. The whole point is to kind of build plots, right? And I will say that unlike some mining projects or hard drive mining projects, the problem with mining on a hard drive is the amount of rewrites that project may have to complete, and that wears and tears on the life of your drive. And this system that you're going to mine with cannot go to sleep. It's got to be on 24/7, maybe like a NAS, or you could build a custom one like SonOfTech did. Me, I'm actually using the same system that I mine 24/7 on with anyways. But let me show you some wear and tear that I saw. The Chia application is very easy to use. Here it is right here. You can see that I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plots. Now, I first installed it on my 12 terabyte hard drive, but then I had a 4 terabyte that I wasn't doing anything with, and I still have plenty of room to increase plots. This full node wallet, if we come here, has to sync up, which we are right now, and you're going to have to set up a mnemonic phrase, right? So as any wallet that you may install, it's going to give you words in which you need to secure in a place, so that way you can always restore your wallet just in case. Now, how do you get paid is something that SonOfTech shared some light on, but long story short, the more plots you have, the more chances that you're able to get kind of like a winning number, and you set up your farm. Right now with my farm, with 5 plots, it would take about 3 months to win. So it's basically luck. The more plots you have, the more likely you are to win some Chia. But for the average consumer who may have like, a 500 gigabyte SSD and maybe a 2 terabyte hard drive, those plots are going to take up space on your main hard drive. So it's not something that I would say everybody at home should be doing, but it is kind of possible. There's a cost to entry there. When you're building these plots though, and how to do that is in the wallet, right? Because you already have your wallet, you already got your key phrase, address, everything gets set up for you. You're gonna go to plots. This is gonna be empty, and you're gonna do add a plot, and you can see that's a number of different options, right? So 600 megabytes, but the temporary space is 1.8 gigabytes. All right, you need to be mindful of that. The temporary space is going to take up space on the previous drive. Now, you typically want to do this on a fast SSD. I have two. I actually have three, but one is way too small for the plot size that I want to do. My C drive is the Corsair MP600, and they actually have a list. I think it's on their install here, where they talk about the total bytes, terabytes written, and the longevity of that drive, which is very interesting. They don't have the MP600, so maybe I can share my data with them. But it's already taken a strain on my drive. Let me move this to the side here. So this is the Samsung 850 EVO, and it's at 99, 100% drive health. Last night, it got up to temperature of 56 degrees Celsius. Not bad whatsoever. However, on the MP600, we saw a max temperature of 71 C, and I already dropped 2% in total life remaining, or 10,000 gigabytes to 20,000 gigabytes. So basically 10 terabytes written to 20 terabytes written. And these drives, depending on the capacity, has a certain amount of terabytes that they can write. So you want to bear that in mind. Plus the heat constraints. If you're going to be doing this at an at-home system, a normal computer case, you want to make sure you got good airflow, because you're going to put a strain on your NVMe or gumstick SSDs. On the regular 2.5 inch, it looks like it doesn't do much at all, but it probably will take longer. And it obviously depends on the size. So back to plotting. When you go here, you click add plot, you got a number of different options, but you need to take note of the temporary space. The temporary space needs to be built before it gets moved on to your 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 12 terabyte, whatever it may be. And I actually created a folder on my C drive called Chia Temp that everything goes into. You can see it's empty. Even when I have enable hidden items, it's empty. Once it gets done getting built, it switches over to the main hard drive, which is my 4 terabyte for now. And you can see here, even on my 850 EVO, Chia Temp, and then on my main hard drive, Chia Plots Final. And here are the plots that I have available. Here's 4, because I put one on my 12 terabyte. I want to continue to go. But in order to do that, I'm going to show you one right now. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is 208.8 gigabytes final, 512 gigabytes temporary storage. I'm going to do one plot. I'm going to choose my location, which is actually over here. Let me choose my final, because I already brought that one up. So my 4 terabyte drive final, and then my C drive, because it has more space. My C drive has more space than my other drives. Okay, so I have 703 gigabytes left that I can play with, while my other one can probably only do the plot above, the 101 with the 208. Or the one right above 208. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create, and that's going to start plotting right there. If I wanted to plot it in parallel and I have an extra SSD, this is the other one that I can support. So 101.4 gigabytes, but the temporary space is 239. Plot in parallel. We can even control the memory usage, and you can see actually, if I bring up Task Manager, that my memory has been, it was up almost all the way to 10 gigabytes. So it can use some memory for sure. We could also choose the number of threads. And if we go back to the Task Manager, right there, it's using this thread, and it looks like this one right here. But it's going to use up threads on your CPU. So I have a Ryzen 5900X, so I got plenty of threads. I just don't have plenty of memory to hold up to everything. But then again, I don't even have the hard drive space, or at least the temporary hard drive space to do it. I could use the 4 terabyte or the 12 terabyte to do the temp and the final. The problem is you really want a fast one if you want your plots to get done quicker. The number of buckets, you could leave that at 128. Queue name, you can leave that at default. And I really don't mess with any of this, but for plotting with bit filled enabled, has about 30% less overall writes, and is now almost always faster. You can see reduced memory requirements with bit field plotting disabled. If your CPU design is from before 2010, you may have to disable bit field plotting. So I don't disable it because of my CPU and hardware. Enable final directory skips adding final directory to harvester for farming. So I leave these two off. Here are my current settings, right? If you have a 4-core 8-thread CPU, two threads will be perfectly fine. But take note of how much memory. If you only have 8 gigabytes of memory and you try to plot 2 of these at the same time, you're going to be utilizing a lot of your system. But that's it. Once you get the farm, the plots going, they show up here. The more plots you have, the more likely you are to earn Chia. This is a new blockchain. Like I said, check out SonOfTech's video on it. But the cost to entry is a lot. Like, hard drives are not expensive, but something I want you to take note of is you're going to need like almost an entire system for this. You're going to need at least 16 gigabytes of memory. You're going to need a good SSD. I would probably get a 1 terabyte or more SSD if possible, depending on your budget. If you really want to dedicate a rig or something to mining Chia. And the lowest 1 terabyte that we can see here is going to be about 85, 83. We'll go with the Crucial right here. And then if we needed to get a bunch of storage, the two terabytes are very cheap. But as you start getting above the 2 terabytes, you need to weigh out the pros and cons. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I got the 12 terabyte is because it was such a good deal. And rather than get a bunch of small drives, because you got to think about space, your system may not be able to handle all of the hard drives that you're trying to input into your system unless it's a server. If it's a server, then yeah, you're good. So like the Seagate Barracuda computes, 2 terabyte, that's perfectly fine. So you could technically grab a bunch of these that are pretty good, have decent longevity. And even though the Seagate Barracuda is a cheap drive, as you move up, you're going to see even better deals in which you can save money. For example, if I only had a limited space and I had the budget, I would probably go for maybe like the 8 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolf NAS, which is only 184, and I'm getting 8 terabytes instead of having to buy 4 of these, which can wind up costing more. So you got to really weigh out the pros and cons. If you got a spare system, again, if it's a piddly little old school dual core, because I do have some LGA 775s lying around, the problem is I'm going to run out of capacity as far as memory, because this, while it's plotting, will take up that memory. See, we're climbing up to 10 gigabytes, and if we go back to my system here, remember we were at 700 gigabytes free on the C drive, and now it's just climbing up. And it will do the same thing for any SSD that we utilize. So I want to stay in my plot range of building these two type of plots, which is the 101 or the 208, because I do not have 1 terabyte or more free on an SSD that I can utilize. So even I, with my hardware, can't build the biggest plot. So bear that in mind. Understand that it's super resource intensive. However, it does kind of open up the avenues for the average user. Even though it shows it may take a long time for it to load up, you can see here it does take a while to plot. It starts eating into your hard drive. Make sure you got enough hard drive space. You need to make sure you have that temporary space allocated or available, because it will just destroy it. And then, one time I ran out of room and I couldn't even finish editing my video because I couldn't save it, which was very odd to bump into. And this is what I'm talking about right here. I couldn't save it because I only had 68 gigabytes because I was trying to plot in parallel. I wouldn't recommend plotting parallel unless you have more room in on another hard drive. And you can see with one plot, with the small one, the 101 gig, one plot, it would take me 2 years as an estimate to win. So the more plots, the better. And when I got 2 plots, 8 months, and even with 5 plots, I've only dropped down to 3 months. The cost to entry, or the entry level is there. Whether or not you have the capacity to do it, you gotta check out your system or your NAS or whatever you may have and determine for yourself if this is something you're interested in. It's not listed on any exchanges. There's no way to convert it through the wallet because it's a new currency. But, you know, it's something new to mine. It's something new to tinker with that I personally like, and that's what I like about mining. So that's my take on it. Here's some of the data and information for you guys to make a determination on whether or not you wanted to. Sorry if the video was a little bit long, but do me a favor, guys, on the way out, please hit the like button because it greatly helps out the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get future updates. And don't forget to check out SonOfTech's video on what is Chia blockchain, and the links in the description below that help support out the channel. You guys have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.